BadgerLink is Wisconsin's online library, providing Wisconsin residents with a collection of over 60 licensed, trustworthy databases and online resources from 6 content providers. With over 60 resources to share, you may be asking yourself, should I share all of the BadgerLink resources with my high school level students? No. Some resources in the BadgerLink collection are not intended or the best option for our high schoolers. BadgerLink is a collection meant for all Wisconsin residents over their lifetime, so some resources will apply better than others, depending on the user's age and research needs. Today, I will be providing an overview of BadgerLink's best bets or most popular resources for high school level students, while being sure to point out the newest additions to the collection. I will be using the high school resource guide to highlight these resources, since resource guides were created to do just that, narrow down the resources based on audience or subject area. All the resource guides are available on the BadgerLink website at badgerlink.dpi.wi.gov. On the For Library staff page, under the resource guide section. There are 3 grade level guides, one for elementary, one for middle, and one for high school. This section also has quite a few other resource guides that have been created for the same purpose, but other audiences of BadgerLink users. These guides were developed to be shared however works best for you, whether that is printing them as a handout, or posting them to your website, or using them as a selection tool when putting direct links to resources on your own website. Each grade level guide lists a handful of the most applicable, most popular BadgerLink resources depending on that grade level. Today, we will be looking at the high school resource guide. The high school resource guide lists the following resources: Explora for middle and high schools, Points of View reference source, Archive of Wisconsin newspapers, newspapers.com library edition, US Newsstream, Britannica School High, Britannica Moderna, and NoveList. These resources are the most used by students in grades 9th through 12th. Each resource has a different interface, so provides students with different research content and information. These resources are made by 4 different content providers or vendors as well, so that also factors in when considering their different look and feel to searching and the information you will find in each one. A quick note before I dive into the first resource: the URLs found on the high school resource guide, just under the title of each resource, direct students to the BadgerLink webpage with more information. This is because the URLs are easier to type out in case students are accessing these guides in print. However, the logos for each resource take the student directly to the resource homepage. So when students are using the guide online, they can simply click on the logo to get directly to that resource. So again, URLs take you to the BadgerLink website page. The logos take you directly to the resource. The first resource on the high school resource guide is Explora for middle and high schools. Explora is a search interface of EBSCO resources searching across more than one EBSCO resource based on the level of Explora chosen. Explora for middle and high schools searches 12 EBSCO resources on topics such as consumer health, environment, history, literature, and science. Students are able to browse by popular timely subjects at the top of the homepage, as well as explore more general topics below the image slider. There is also featured content and featured collections highlighted on the homepage of this resource. Explora for middle and high schools contains academic journal articles, magazine articles, newspapers, and encyclopedia information. I'm going to click on a timely subject here at the top to show an example of the types of content found in search results. So there's usually a topic overview here at the top with content from an encyclopedia of the subject that is being searched. Then oftentimes there are magazine articles from database master file complete. There's also a lot of encyclopedia entries for this particular topic. Upon clicking the full text access to an article, one will find a full suite of tools in the upper right corner of the page, including citation, sharing tools, and saving tools. I'm going to click the back arrow to go back to our search results list. Often the articles will list the Lexile reading level indicator within the article's detailed record, found by selecting View Details from the search results page. Again, this resource is Explora for middle and high schools. The rest of the resources listed on the high school resource guide are not searched in Explora for middle and high schools. The next resource is new to the BadgerLink collection, Points of View Reference Source. Points of View Reference Source is an EBSCO database that presents multiple sides of an issue to help assess and develop persuasive arguments and essays, better understand controversial issues, and develop analytical thinking skills. From the homepage, students can browse issues that are in the news or browse by category of commonly debated issues. Upon selecting an issue, rather than the search results we just saw in Explore for middle and high schools, this topic opens with the overview, similar to the topic overviews in Explora. This provides basic background information for the student to familiarize themselves with the issue. This overview often includes the author's name and a bibliography of sources for composing this background information. To the right of the overview text is the point, counterpoint, and guide to critical analysis of the issue. Helpful for forensics or even writing a research paper, both the point, as seen here, and the counterpoint review the talking points and reflection questions of one side and then the other. The guide to critical analysis offers students more reflection and structure to how to utilize the overview, point, and counterpoint when making an argument and coming to a conclusion on their stance on this particular issue. Each of the pieces of counterpoint, point, and guide to critical analysis can be cited and read aloud to the student viewing. You can also access the PDF of all of these components to the issue in addition to reading the HTML full text. This resource is Points of View Reference Source and is a new resource for high schoolers in the BadgerLink collection. The next three resources listed on the high school resource guide are newspaper databases in the BadgerLink collection. Newspapers are a great format for high school students to incorporate into their research projects, from a National History Day project to a history assignment requiring primary source material. The first newspaper resource listed is Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers. This resource provides cover-to-cover newspaper content for over 200 Wisconsin newspapers from 2005 to 60 days ago, plus another 40 newspapers from the 1800s and 1900s. The Wisconsin newspaper publications available in this resource are from smaller towns and cities in Wisconsin than the bigger newspapers. This is one of the great and unique features of this resource. Students can access Archive of Wisconsin newspapers for both current and historical newspaper titles in Wisconsin for researching Wisconsin history or discovering historical and current events from Wisconsinites' perspective. Again, this resource is Archive of Wisconsin Newspapers. Another historical newspaper database students can use for research is newspapers.com Library Edition. This historical newspapers archive contains newspapers from the 1700s to 2000s, including thousands of well-known regional, state, and small local newspapers, mostly in the United States. There are also over 150 Wisconsin newspaper titles in newspapers.com. Both newspapers.com and Archive of Wisconsin newspapers provide PDF imaging of the full text of articles and newspaper pages that look just like they did in print. The last newspaper database on the high school resource guide is US Newsstream. For current and archival to the 1980s US News, US Newsstream features national and regional, including the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times, Boston Globe, Newsday, and Chicago Tribune, as well as 26 Wisconsin titles. Use this resource to access New York Times or Wall Street Journal titles in the classroom. You can do a basic search for the article title from the US Newsstream homepage and access the full text of the article, often even same-day coverage. In doing a search for an article title, the full text of the article may display, but may not include images nor videos, as when viewing news articles on a newspaper online website like the New York Times Online, for example. But the text of the article is in the database to view and read, and there are also saving and citing and printing tools in the upper right corner, just as there were with Explora. This newspaper resource, US Newsstream, is from content provider ProQuest, so it looks different than the first two EBSCO resources and the two other newspaper resources we've seen thus far today. Because these three newspaper resources have different types of publications within them, it may be tough to know where to start, but understanding their differences is helpful. Keep in mind, US Newsstream has current newspapers of both Wisconsin and national publications, but mostly national and the larger cities in Wisconsin. Archive of Wisconsin newspapers has both current and historical newspaper titles, but only in Wisconsin, and mostly smaller towns than those larger cities found in US Newsstream. And newspapers.com Library Edition has historical newspapers only of both Wisconsin and national publications. The next two resources are from the same content provider, Britannica Education or Encyclopedia Britannica, as they are commonly referred to. Each of them has the same great encyclopedia content, including articles, biographies, images, videos, and maps. We will briefly look at these two resources, starting with Britannica School High. Britannica School is the main resource offering from Britannica Education. There are a lot of browsable features on the homepage, including On This Day, flash facts on a timely topic, In Their Words, which is a famous quotation, Science and Pictures, Compare Countries and World Atlas features, and recommended primary sources. I also want to highlight some features found at the article level, so I'm going to click on the Articles Browse page. You can see students can browse a wide range of topics popular with high schoolers. I'm going to select history and an article here at the top. And as you can see, a new navigator section to the left of the article content is where students can change their reading level up here at the top. Navigate the article with the slider feature, going through each section. Lower down, they're going to find options to cite, save, send, and print. And something to note with send, that is where you'll be able to find the Google Classroom, Google Drive, and Microsoft Teams sharing. Students can also change the font size. They can convert the font to Open Dyslexic font, and they can translate with Google Translate in over 100 languages. Users can also double-click on a word for definitions, pronunciations, and Spanish translation. Again, this resource is Britannica School High. Britannica Moderna is the next resource and is also a Britannica resource for high school students. This resource is completely in Spanish. As you can see, Britannica Moderna has all the encyclopedia content for high schoolers to use, including articles, biographies, videos, and news that you see with Britannica School High. This resource is Britannica Moderna. Finally, the last resource on the guide is NoveList. NoveList is a fiction reading recommendation resource with read-alikes and book reviews of titles. This resource contains titles for all ages, so we recommend once students are in high school, transitioning away from NoveList K-8 to NoveList to view more content on teen and adult book titles. But if your high schoolers are interested in reading for younger ages, those titles are available in NoveList as well. These resources make up the high school resource guide and provide a great collection of resources from BadgerLink for your 9th through 12th grade students. In briefly highlighting these resources today, I hope an idea for sharing and using them in the classroom has been sparked, or maybe you saw a new resource or feature that would be a great addition to the library resources you usually highlight for your high schoolers. Again, you can find the high school resource guide with all the resources I just highlighted on the BadgerLink website, on the For Library Staff page, under the Resource Guide section. The direct links to resources found on the high school resource guide or any resource guide can be shared with your students via your own web pages on your library or district website. To find our direct links to resources sheet with all the BadgerLink resources listed, select the Getting Started section on the For Library Staff page, conveniently directly above the Resource Guide section on the page. Here you will find the direct resources links sheet to select all the BadgerLink resources you wish to share with your students and educators. You can also integrate these resources into your learning management systems, library management systems, and single sign-ons like ClassLink or Clever. If you would like to add BadgerLink resources to these platforms, please reach out to us using our Contact Us form or email badgerlink@dpi.wi.gov. The information needed to integrate these resources into third-party platforms is not the same as the direct resources sheet, so be sure to reach out to us for that info. Please share these resources with your high school students and their educators because we know that resources that are shared are used. And thank you for promoting and supporting BadgerLink's high school resources in your libraries and schools.